movement specialist. Got a sweet exercise to show you today that's kind of a twist on some of the traditional quadruped core exercises. Helping me today is George Anthony. George Anthony is also a corrective exercise specialist, and he is the owner of Brainstorm Fitness, where we are here in San Diego. So George Anthony's going to start off nice and square in a box on the floor. And many of you are going to be familiar with this kind of quadruped regression, which is maybe a regression towards the bird dog. So George Anthony's just going to lift one hand and the opposite knee off the floor, do a little bit of stabilization here, right? He creates a shift in where the center of gravity is, because it's the opposites, high and low. We've got a little bit of rotational torque that we want to stabilize with there. Puts a load through the shoulders and the hips. Many of you are familiar with our A to P cat and dog exercise that we use, which is a great hip decoupling exercise. So George Anthony's going to set himself up in that position that we use. But this is a progression to that, which would also be a progression to the quadruped lifts. However, it's still a regression related to the bird dog because the limbs and the levers are a little bit shorter. So go ahead and get yourself in that position. So what you can see here is he's kind of put himself in what we call the mid-crawl position. We're going to make sure the individual kind of allows the thoracic spine to relax, and that passive extension actually helps with the rotation. So the setup alone has the hips uncoupled, and the thoracic spine is uncoupled, while the shoulder girdle is uncoupled, so the thoracic spine is in a preset position for a little bit of lateral flexion and rotation. As we introduce the motion here, what's going to happen is that the acceleration and deceleration with the offset base is going to really have a lot more of an oblique or transverse plane impact, because the transverse plane is loaded by gravity with the individual in this position. So what you'll see is George Anthony's going to go ahead and start the motion, and then he does what we call the rewind. He actually hovers and then returns. So not only do we have to deal with the gravitational forces, there's a little bit of deceleration and then re-acceleration in reverse. So as the center of gravity shifts forward, the hips are uncoupled, we're kind of controlling some of that rotation. So in terms of stimulating the oblique and rotary control that's going through the trunk here, as well as the shoulder girdle for that matter, it adds a different dimension than this purely just elevating off the ground. And it's a nice advancement in a core stabilization exercise where we love to see the body's ability to deal with rotation, not necessarily always have to lock up, but actually control it and be able to move through an anterior and posterior direction with this. So excellent exercise is part of our A, B, C, D levels of exercises, and where it would go into the sequence based on the progressions that you're going to do. So anything that's been done previously, supine, hook lying, or side lying on the ground, this is a nice little regression progression for the core before the individual starts to get a little bit more vertical. Thanks for watching. Leave any comments or questions below.